Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Ambidextrous Charging Handle, the ACF from Forward Controls, and we're going to talk about some of the features and the principles behind it. But in order to have that conversation, we have to first talk about the TDP charging handle and why this charging handle is so awesome. As I stated in the intro, I don't know if you expected me to say that or not. The TDP charging handle gets a little bit of a bad rap. Things like the trigger, the safety, and your charging handle is most often the parts that get replaced, which is a shame because this is actually a really good design. And we're going to talk about why it's such a good design and why the ACF incorporates a lot of that DNA. The biggest one right out front is it's monolithic, right? This is a single piece of metal. And that might seem kind of innocuous to most people, but when we start to consider the longevity of the part, this is a really big deal because it has all of the strength maintained throughout the monolithic assembly of the charging handle. And this is probably one of the parts that gets used the most on an AR. And so maintaining that integrity of it being a singular piece of metal it's a big deal, right? So when you put your stress or pressure on the latches or the handle to charge it, it's actually transferring all of that force throughout the entirety of this piece of metal, right? So that is awesome. That's a really cool design on the TDP spec, and it's why on the ACF it is also a monolithic design, right? There aren't any mechanisms that are going to be part of transferring that energy of pulling the charging handle to the bolt carrier group. So something that kind of got expanded upon and improved, or at least similar in execution with the ACF, is that those latches actually recede all the way into the body of the charging handle, right? So they recede all the way in, which again, when you go to actually mortar your weapon, it's going to put all the energy in the body of that monolithic charging handle, right? So coming back to the TDP and what we would love about it, it's no wider than it needs to be, and it's not a hook design, right? So hook designs can get caught on kit, can get caught on webbing. It might be fine for some people. It's just a consideration when you're deciding what equipment to put on your AR. And so we really liked that it was perpendicular and for the most part, and then had this rearward sloping angle just to really prevent any type of kit or webbing getting stuck on it. And we went with a similar execution on the ACF, right? So these are actually rearward sweeping. There's no harsh edges that kit can get snagged on. It's no wider than it needs to be. As you can see, it's just barely wider than the TDP, right? Another big benefit that gives is actually in how you exert force when you charge the charging handle, right? So if we had a wider charging handle and you gripped further out, you're actually going to induce an angular motion on that charging handle inside your upper receiver group, right? Whereas this, no wider than it needs to be, you're transferring that energy straight rearward, right? So, and as you can just see, that is one of the things that we actually did with the ACF, is that there's this little bit of a curvature. This isn't on the TDP, but this little bit of curvature here where your thumb rests perfectly. It really guides you to get exactly where you need to be on the charging handle, so that way you are pulling directly rearward. You're not binding the charging handle anywhere inside your upper receiver. So again, it's not a major deal, but it's one of those things that it's just in the details of how Forward Controls products are designed, right? So let's talk about some of the ways that it's different from the TDP. So the biggest ones, and I can actually show you on this 11.5 here, is how it mates up with the upper receiver, right? So it actually is a full horseshoe design all the way around the top side of the upper receiver. And then I can do this with the law folder on here. It actually is oversized and comes down on the back or on the lower side of the the upper receiver, if that makes sense. So I can show it to you when I compare these two side by side. It's a little bit oversized, a lot of bit oversized actually, on the bottom side, and it's a fully complete horseshoe design along the top side. Now, why does that matter? Why is this so tight of a seal against the upper receiver? Well, that gets into suppressing a rifle, right? This is my MCX. We do have an ACF for the MCX, which is awesome. That's a recent addition. And what that does, as you can see on here, is there's actually a oversized lip that is going to direct gases away from your face, right? It does it both on the top side and on the bottom side with the those oversized fencing. I hope that gives a little bit of insight as to why the ACF is designed the way that it is and why the TDP charging handle is a really cool, a really great designed charging handle. So hope that answers all of your questions, guys. Have a great day.